In the last video, when I fitted the ram to the end here, this one here, I think I mentioned, I showed the ram pushing in and out, and I think I mentioned that the plate on this side certainly was binding. You can see how this one's binding here, and I'll just show you how I originally had this set up. So you can see here, this is a 16mm galvanised pipe or tube, and what I did was I drilled a 19mm hole, or 4 of them, because there's 2 either side, 2 there and 2 there, through the clamping plates on either side, and there's the other one there, and inserted into there some lengths of 19mm tube as well, because the 16mm seemed to slide nicely into the 19mm tube, but even though this one does move smoothly only when you get it exactly square. You see, even this one is binding, but the one on that side was even worse. So that's really not any good. So I've been considering my options. I really want to avoid having to pay for more linear bearings to run on these if I can. I thought about maybe cutting these shorter, but what I ended up doing, I've had a little bit of time this morning before I head off to work and come out in the garage, and on this one I actually have removed the tubes altogether. I had to drill them out actually because they were press fit in there pretty tight. Now, it does mean there's a lot of play in there, as you can see, but it does move obviously a lot smoother. I don't like this play, but I figured if the ram is able to push that, so long as where I fit the ram to the back of the plate here, so long as I come up with some sort of fitting that try and holds the ram square to the back of the plate, it should for the most part keep the plate itself fairly square. What's more important is that this is uninhibited when it slides, and then of course obviously the 2 halves of the mould are going to be screwed in and fitted, and that mould on both sides will have, or on one side will have aligning pins that will go into holes on the other side of the mould that'll keep it together. So I think, like I said, so I'm thinking anyway, so long as I have a fixture on the back here that keeps the plate square to the ram, and also make sure that the mould is fitted centrally to the plates, it should avoid it wanting to skew the plates, which obviously wouldn't work because then your mould's not going to seal. So I'll just show you the results of this when you consider the first time I fitted that, or when I fitted that ram in the other day and tested this out. This ram didn't have the power to move this at all, and I did have a bit of a concern that the ram didn't have enough power, but now that I've removed those tubes, I'll show you the result here. Just hook up our air supply. Again, don't mind the leaking because I haven't Teflon tape on those yet, but you have a look. Well, that is quite a strong ram, there's no way I can move that by hand. Pushes it all the way to the other side. No binding. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's much better. Now I've just got to figure out a way of how I'm going to attach around to here to kind of keep it square. So I'll bring you back once I've sorted that out. Right, so to attach this ram to this plate here, this is the solution I've come up with. For now, I don't know whether this will end up being the permanent solution, obviously, but you're just trying to progress, and as you go, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and this is good enough for now. And only time will tell whether it stays this way. So, once again, raided the scrap metal bin and came up with this was a galvanised post support, the type that concretes into the ground. I've just cut that to length. I'd already cut some pieces off here, that's why it's this size. And just drilled some holes in here. I've drilled a hole, I don't know if you can see, drilled a hole down the end there and threaded that to suit the thread on the end of the ram. So I'll show you fitting this up, we'll see what it looks like. I haven't test fitted this yet, so fingers crossed. So there we have it. I might just quickly hook that up and give it a test. There we go. There's only minimal PSI there, maybe about 30 PSI or less. Simply because my compressor's not turned on. Let's power up. Somehow just managed to snap the air fitting that goes into this ram. Oh, that sucks. Alright. That sucks indeed. How the hell has that happened? I think it must have hit. Okay, I'll take you in here. Never a dull moment, is there? Hang on. Okay, I can see what the cause of the problem is, so you know, it was probably bound to happen. And at first I was thinking there that it's my own fault. So, but I mean, sorry that it was dodgy. You know, Chinese made bloody fitting. I'll just see if I can show you this. Where are you? There we go. So that has actually snapped halfway through the thread there. I realise what's happened. If you have a look down here, where I've got this cut out, I don't know if you can see, it's the light's not the best really, is it? Okay, focus. Okay, if you have a look, that was in here, there's still a little bit of movement. Well, this goes to show how much what's happened. The bolt that I had in here has bent. That shows you the force of this this ram. This bolt has bent, which has allowed this to move forward slightly, and so this here is hit up against the pipe just here and has snapped it. So, I don't know if I can show you this. If you have a look inside, that thread there. So there's the thread inside the ram. It's actually snapped off in there below the surface here. So, alright, never a dull moment. So it was my own fault. Alright, just one of those things. So now I've got to see what I'm going to do to get that out. See if I can figure out a solution. I'll bring you back. Alright, so doesn't look like it's going to be such a drama after all. I did have a set of these easy outs for removing broken screws. They're basically a, you know, for those that don't know, for those that don't know, it's basically like a it's a reversed thread on there, screw thread that's tapered so that, you know, you can, as you turn it in reverse, it should bite into the broken piece and screw it out. But it turns out I gave it a go, and just by hand that piece in there is coming out. So and there we go, it's out. You gotta love a problem that's easy to solve, eh? But I suppose the good news out of that is that whilst we had a failure of the design really, so I can only really blame myself, the positive out of that is that one, obviously proof of concept that the RAM works, but also we know now that I'm going to have to probably remove a little bit more material here, number one. And number two, even though this is only ever going to be temporary anyway, a good demonstration of the power of compressed air. You know, and I was worried about this RAM because it's only a fairly narrow bore. So I was thinking it wouldn't actually have a lot of power, but it certainly made short work of this bolt, even though that's only an 8mm bolt or something. So yeah, so I'm going to need to obviously get a thicker, stronger pin to go through the back, remove some material at around here. So might leave that for another day. I'm happy with the progress there. So, alright, so I think I'll wrap this video up there. I'll try and get a bit more done over this weekend. I must apologise that it's been so long since I did the last instalment. I think it must be about 3 weeks now, and I've been itching to get onto this. I've been somewhat of a surprise to myself, the obligation, I guess, that I feel to maintain regular updates for the subscribers and the viewers, and again, I really appreciate those people that have subscribed. Thank you very much, and those viewers, and I can only hope that, you know, everyone's getting something out of it, and we've had some good comments along the way, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, I've just had a busy last couple of weeks, what with work commitments and family commitments and car maintenance and all sorts of other things to be able to actually get in here and do the work. So apologies for that. That's just life, and it's the way it goes, I guess. But on the upside, I do have some good news. We've got a new addition to the garage. Oh, I'll show you what we've got. Yes, there we go. I have finally got my hands on a lathe. Woohoo! And I'm very, very excited, very happy to get this in the garage. I've wanted a lathe for many years. I've certainly spent a lot of time over the last couple of years watching a lot of YouTube videos on lathe work. I'm kind of a little bit fortunate in my job that it does afford me the opportunity to watch a lot of YouTube, and I've probably spent hundreds of hours watching, the guys that I'm sure a lot of you know already, guys like Adam Booth, Keith Fenner, Keith Rucker, some of the old time guys like Jewel Kane, Mr. Pete, 222 and a few others. It's an old lathe, but I'm look forward to getting it going. I'm not going to talk about it too much now because I probably will do a video series on that, but more on that later. So anyway, thanks for watching.